Every so often we find a drill that is kind of sneaky. Sneaky in the sense that once you help an athlete do it, it actually turns out to be the whole real stroke. This is going to be one of those times. Since breaststroke is a very, very heavy feel stroke, we like our athletes to do different drills to make them feel the water and feel the connection. Connection is a very big thing in breaststroke, and we really like our athletes being able to swim with a great feel and command of the water. So this drill builds on our separation drill where we were separating the pull and the kick, so that way an athlete can really stay flat here as they're going to be traveling through the water. And there was at times a very, very big distinct separation. Now when we actually do breaststroke, we want just a very slight level of separation, so it's like there's almost a separation. Hey, kind of just like this drill. So taking a look at it, this is basically breaststroke. So let's go over some of those key items. So here, we'll start out with our legs. We'd like to see the heels here coming up to the hips. The feet then are going to turn out. We then are able to capture water on the inside of the feet and also on the inside of the calf. Hips here are also going to rise a little bit. We'll talk about that later. And remember, we want to bring those heels all the way up to the hip. And then what we want to remember is to have that slight kick downward here when we do that. And we're going to have a really, really nice line. Here at the end, we want to make sure that we remind swimmers to curl their toes so to help kind of get that nice line established. And look, that's exactly where we're at. This is really, really, really nice. The athlete will continue to travel nice and forward. And look, we have great connection here. We're finishing the kick, the arms are extended. Now our athletes are ready here for the out sweep. We're going to go to either, remember, 11-1, 10-2, or 9-3, just depending on the athlete. Then we're going to grab that water. Remember, we want that to be a circular shape here with both of those catches. And then as we're going in, what we really like seeing is this triangle of space created right there. We'll be able to see that a little bit more clear later as we're moving through the water. As we're moving then and driving through, we see the hips here getting up, and we are moving very well through the water. So we really like this drill. Take a look next at the kick under the water, just for another view. Remember here, we want to make sure we keep the knees along that hip line, which we're just basically about there. That left knee is a little bit outside. We just want to make sure we're watching that. Feet here turning out. Great job. Catching water on the inside of the calf. Making sure you remember to kick at that angle. And then what we want to see is just, again, kind of curl those toes here so that everything gets up a little bit more here to the surface. Our athlete gets a little bit more downward than we would like. And we just kind of keep repeating that. Now on our way back here on a return view, we get a little bit of a different perspective. So here, remember, we want to slide out, grab that water. Now, when we take the breath is really important. So kind of we see here, we're going out sweep and our athlete's getting up. So we're getting up more vertical, kind of like this here from a side view. We kind of want the travel to be very low but forward to the water. So we would want to make sure that to emphasize with our athlete that we want to start the breath more about right here. That'll get them a little bit lower, a little more forward to the water as we're then traveling through. Here we do a really nice job creating that triangle of space right there so that that head can get really, really down into. And then we really are focusing on driving the line. So talk about that line. We want to make sure we remember that, just like a pitcher, we want to make sure that we are delivering a fastball every single time that we're performing this recovery movement. We want this to be very aggressive as the athlete is then going into the line here. And just keep working on that connection to make sure when those legs finish, those arms finish, and we continue just to drive forward. Our athlete's doing a great job in this department. All right, let's go underwater and take a look at what we see. Here we see also, just as we're going through that recovery, and something that we really like, very underrated here, is to keep those fingertips, palms open just slightly, and then we rotate them right there and then as we begin that out sweep. So remember that out sweep is going to be dependent upon the ability level of an athlete. Younger swimmers, we really recommend either that 11 and 1. More experienced can go to 10 and 2, and if you have the strength to go 9 and 3. Here our athlete is almost going 9 and 3. So you're just going to have to kind of see what you think is going to work best for you. Here we got that nice rounding off of that catch right there, and then we see the fingertips really getting down, and then we are going into the in sweep, turning those pinkies, and then again just doing a great job here of tucking the head in between the arms right here. Really nice job. And you guys can see here that we're also just a little bit just below the surface. So there's a lot going on with breaststroke just overall. So make sure you keep emphasizing those little points. It's about really feeling that connection. So this is kind of our go-to. So sometimes we'll go through a progression of separation drill, and then we'll say, all right, go almost separation drill. And swimmers will be like, what? And you just tell them, however you think almost separation drill is from the drill we just did, go do it. If you found some value out of this, be sure to drop a like and subscribe.